Heyo.
Sorry.
So I see that Erica's not in here.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I was looking at our predictions, and it seems like you didn't get the memo that they killed Mass Effect.
And that was when I couldn't come up with anything good. I went for Hail Mary / funny. So I cared more about making it a good listen podcast than about actually getting points.
I really thought for a second that when that Anthem trailer started and he said something about dragons, I was like, was the end of this trailer gonna say Anthem and then Dragon Age is gonna like?
I had a brief little hope of like, could this secretly be the Dragon Age game we've been wanting all along? And then I was like, no. Well, because I really like the idea of like fantasy worlds, but with technology that's progressed some, so it's not just like medieval stuff all over. So it's like a Dragon Age world, but in like 1,000 years when there's actual technology. I'm like, dang, I want that game. Really
How much can you deal with really janky European role-playing games?
It depends on how janky.
Let's say like 4 out of 5 jank.
Okay, well,
I'm really
let's go to the
intrigued by
next
this.
metric.
Okay.
How European? How European?
Very European.
You know, I can't promise that I would get that far into it, but I would try it because I definitely. What?
When it goes on sale, you should try Elex.
Okay.
ELEX. It's the developers of the Gothic series. They made exactly what you are describing. It is they post-apocalypse, but it's like fantasy meets technology.
I love fantasy meets technology. That's my jam.
It's a very cool game.
I've got a really good recommendation for you. It's this game. I don't think many people have heard of it. It's called Horizon Zero Dawn.
I need to finish it. I haven't. It just happened to come out the week before Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Did you see that there's a version? There's a sale right now for Horizon Complete Edition for $20.
Yeah, can I just buy the DLC?
The DLC
for cheap.
I wish.
Horizon Zero Data.
What? Is it a Star Trek crossover?
Yes.
No,
But no,
it's
It's also a Mario's Missing crossover, but instead of Mario, it's Data from Star Trek.
I would totally play that.
No data at all.
Already zero data.
Are we going to start this podcast?
Oh, are we
We
doing
already
a
started.
quiz today? Is there a
Yeah, I
quiz
was wondering
today?
that
Yep.
too.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've got quiz questions.
Okay.
I spent time looking at very funny quiz questions. Well, one funny quiz question and then 4 other questions.
Alright, I lost my letters like usual, so I gotta make some real quick, but that's fine. I'm good to start. Whatever.
It's all right. You've got like 40 minutes. Everybody, let's do a podcast. Welcome, everyone listening, also speaking to episode 23? 23.
That sounds right.
That sounds right. Somebody looked at our podcast feed the other day and went, wow, 22 episodes, huh? So I guess we're doing all right in terms of number of episodes recorded.
yay!
I am your CEO and president of Electronic Arts, Sam Harrison.
That's you.
Today, I have with me my colleagues, Alex,
I'm basically Peter Moore.
Liverpool A. Governor, Alison,
I'm basically all the employees that are still sticking around with BioWare and hoping for the best.
oh, so you're Casey Hudson.
Yeah, that's me.
One of the doctors, Andre.
I'm the one who does the beer. Is that both of them?
I think that's Dr. Wiley.
Get the fuck out.
Erica?
I'm the nervous Sea of Solitude lady who forgot how to talk at the beginning.
I love her.
I love her too.
She's so German.
She was so cute.
wearing a Kraftwerk t-shirt. I was like, yeah, all right, I'm in. And of course, every week, our best boy Pat.
I'm Vince Zampella, awkwardly trying to avoid describing more of my Star Wars game.
But was it? Do you think that? I think that was on purpose.
I think it was
like
on purpose.
he was having a good time.
It was really funny though that like the skit like that Andrea Renee was not actually like coached and hired to do that, and instead was acting like a games journalist talking to Vince Zampella as if she was going to try to get him to reveal something that he couldn't.
It's better than the Aisha Tyler cosplay fiasco.
Nothing is better than the Aisha Tyler cosplay fiasco.
That one was a classic.
Yeah, if you could somehow marry Aisha Tyler, her press conference performances, and Joel McHale and the laser tag, like that's the Ubisoft conference that I want. Bring Joel and Aisha back.
What about Mr. Caffeine?
Oh, Ubisoft are just too good.
What about taking some of the best of old Konami to like the 1 million troops?
My
Giant
favorite Konami
enemy
year-
crack.
My favorite Konami year was the year when they literally just had Metal Gear, Ground Zeroes, and Pez, and nothing else.
Only if at the end of the show, like all of the vast like Ubisoft cinematic universe of hosts like claps his arms at the end and bows because they avoided another year of takeover from Vivendi.
Eve stands in the middle, and they all circle around him and slowly clap in the clouds as the screen goes black.
Doesn't Eve always stand in the middle of all of us?
Eve's Angelian.
Yes.
My God.
One person
It's,
gets that reference. One person.
Eve-centric model of the universe.
Speaking of E3, today we all
Don't you mean
watched
Eve 3?
Speaking of Eve 3, which I will now be calling it forever.
Damn it.
That's a lot better than Weed 3.
We watched the EA press conference earlier today. So we're going to do something a little bit fun in terms of our structure this week. We're going to talk about E3 because that's probably what people are here to listen to, if anyone is here to listen to anything. And then afterwards, Pat and Alison have both got some super interesting games, or well, they've got some games that I am super interested in and I can't afford to buy. So I would like to hear about those. And so
I'm
we're
going
going
to talk about Goku.
Yeah, and yeah, Andre has promised / threatened to discuss Goku. And I have written a quiz question about Goku, but not about any of the other games that are going to be discussed. So I hope you're all ready for a extremely well-researched, very amusing Goku quiz question. Okay, so EA, do we want to talk a little bit about what they talked about, or do we want to just go straight in there and say what we thought of it?
Can we see if anyone won a bet?
Wanna bet?
Can we?
Oh, what if we did an update?
So I've got the list. I don't have Sam's bet here, but I've got everyone else's. So I'll start with Alex.
I've been sitting and marking them all.
Okay. So yeah, if you wanna pull them up.
Yeah.
Okay, I think Alex is the only one who got one for.
I think
Yeah.
No.
Allison also technically got one.
I got
Yeah.
partial credit.
Yeah, I think that we as a council need to discuss the points that
I guess
Alison gets.
Pat technically, yeah, Pat get ones too.
Mm-hmm.
Kind. He gets like 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3 for
Okay.
what? I got 3
2
out
out
of
of
3 on
3.
my Anthem bet.
I don't know about the get full and detailed gameplay rundown. I don't know how full and detailed that was.
Who's even playing that?
Hello, everyone. So the schools on the doors this week. At the start of the E3 competition, we have got Alex with 4 points, Alison with 3 points, awaiting
Yeah.
judgment, Andre with 2, Erica with 1, Pat with 5, and me with also 1. So the way the bets shook out, there were 2 bets which were decided by this conference, which were from the quickfire bets, which was, will a new Star Wars game be announced? And will a basketball game be at any press conference? So
everyone except one person said yes for both of those questions, which meant that. Sorry. Okay.
Want a mulligan on that?
Okay, so yeah, so everybody got points for the Star Wars game except for Alex, who said that there wasn't going to be one.
Yeah.
Everybody got points for the basketball game except Erica, who said there wasn't going to be one. So in terms of EA bets, Alex got 3 points for saying there was going to be a new Command and Conquer.
Absolutely.
Alice, because there was a new Command and Conquer
He
announced.
was close with the. He said Command and Conquer Reborn. It was Command and Conquer Rivals. It's eerily close. You have a
Very
person on the
close.
inside.
Is it Vince Zampella?
Well, if I have money inside EA, I'd probably get it out real quick.
Allison's bet: free DLC offered for Battlefront 2 announced. So I think that we're going to put this one to the council of people. In that Pat did not mention during the initial betting that all DLC for Battlefront is free.
I think we
So-
brought that up.
I think we did, yeah.
Yeah, I
Did
think we
we?
talked about it.
I think
Okay.
we established something.
I think it's fair to say that that part of Allison's bet was that they are going to continue that trend. I think that was a fairly safe part of the bet, but we all have parts of our bets that are pretty safe. So I don't really have a problem with
if
it.
it's free, does it count as DLC
Also-
if everyone gets it? And it's just there.
I mean, it's downloadable content technically.
Do they actually have to download it?
Well,
it
yeah. I
free?
mean, you have to
Is it on the
Yeah,
disc?
but it's
Okay. I'm just asking questions.
Okay, so I've given Allison 3 points for that now, seeing as she was fully correct. Andre, Titanfall 3 is shown with the 2019 release window. Did not come to pass.
No. Vince
Erica's-
breaking my balls.
Erica's Mass Effect adventure game, as beloved as that would be, did not come to pass.
I wish it had come to pass,
It's-
though.
Mass
Did
Effect is in a
anyone-
grave. Mass Effect has been killed.
Did anyone
Rise
say
again.
the word
Bioware
Mass Effect?
said that they're coming back to Mass Effect.
There
We'll
was-
see if that actually happens, but they've
2022.
said-
There was an
2022.
N7. There was an N7 logo on one of the javelins. Is that what they're called?
There was, yeah.
In Anthem.
I saw that.
I didn't notice that actually.
I saw that.
Pat's bet: Anthem will take up more time than any other E3 EA game. We will get a full and detailed gameplay rundown as well as a release date in the first half of 2019. So all three of those were correct.
I don't know about the full and detailed gameplay breakdown.
They said what you did. They said you go out. They said you come back in. You do your stuff. You speak to people, and then
Yeah, I
they
think
show
they
a
talked
mission.
about they talked about how there's single player elements and multiplayer elements. They showed each of the classes.
Yeah, they talked about the kind of core gameplay of okay, we're all gonna go out on a mission together. It's multiplayer, but then you come back. I think it counts.
I think if
Okay.
I don't really, I'm not gonna die on this hill, so I'm fine with if it makes everyone feel better not taking it. I think if you think there's more gameplay to that game than what they talked about today, you're going to be very disappointed in February of 2019.
I'm just not so sure it was full and detailed. But yeah, if other people are fine with it, okay. I just keep us honest.
Stop trying to rob Pat of his points.
No, don't worry. I'm
It's
coming
the only
for you,
way I
Erica.
can get them.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, just pulling up the right windows. Okay. And I said EA formally announces Respawn Star Wars game, which they did.
Yep.
It's set at the time of the Old Republic, which it was not. And that Stig comes out to present it, which he did not. So I got 1 point out of 3 for those.
I don't know if I call that a formal announcement. It was a pretty casual announcement.
Beautiful though.
I'm kidding. I'm not arguing the actual point.
Wait, you said this? You said the Stig was going to come out to announce it?
Stig Rasmussen, he's
Oh.
the game director on that game.
Oh, duh. Sorry, I was thinking of Top Gear.
That's Stig, yeah.
That would have been in the Hail Mary category, but I still would have won. Technically,
that-
we don't know.
That's
Vincent Pella could
Microsoft.
big.
That's for Microsoft. That's for Forza.
Man, that'd be amazing.
I
There's-
think he's done Forza stuff before, so
There's
they did
nothing
have that
that
Stig on an E3 stage.
Do we know who the Stig is? The last time I checked in on Top Gear lore, no one knew.
The Stig's like 7 people.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So there's no reason Vince Zampella couldn't be one of them.
Ah, touche.
Okay. So
Yeah. Okay. So.
Okay. Did anybody care about any of the sports games?
Not really.
I'd be lying if I said yes.
So I will
like-
say that I really, 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 really like NBA 2K basketball, but like last year's game was a train wreck of microtransactions. So if like EA could make a really good basketball game, I would totally be willing to switch to their stuff. But I just don't have any confidence, and I thought that gameplay looked really rough compared to 2K.
Have any of the live games been good?
The last one I heard was okay, but not good.
not since they brought it back. It seemed like no one's been like, oh yeah, NBA Live. I guess.
Did they bring it back that same year where they did the Wii NBA Jam?
Well, they brought it back for this generation, right? And then like they're like, hey, we're making this NBA Live game, and then it came out, but then they pulled it.
Yep, because it's so
'Cause-
bad.
Oh yeah.
And
Year of
then the next-
apologies.
hmm
Didn't one get delayed a bunch and then just not come
Yep,
out?
one got canceled. Last year's game was the first. Well, no, because then I think that was NBA Live 15 maybe that came out and got pulled. Then 16 didn't come out, and then 17 came out and was bad. And then last year's was like passable, but not on the level with 2K at all. Is how I remember it. But I don't know. Like the FIFA stuff is like, it seems like it seems like last year's game, by the time E3 rolls around, should always be made free with some kind of microtransactions added to get people interested, because like I don't give a shit about FIFA. If I could play like the full game and not a trial until the new one comes out, I might check it out and then maybe be interested in playing the new one. But like, I don't know. That game sells well enough that I don't know that they need to worry about making the last year's game free, because the people who are locked into that world will buy it anyway. But I still don't think it looks very interesting. And I like soccer a lot, or football a lot.
Yeah, that's right.
Association
It's football.
soccer.
It's football. You guys are
ASOC.
American.
ASOC.
Did that?
Association soccer.
God damn it! Did that Euro Penis Cup thing, the thing that said peens on it, did it mean anything to any of you?
I think it's the UEFA
United-
Cup. It's
United
big.
European Soccer Cup.
It's the European Union Football Association. My parents are both huge football fans. I don't give a single shit about football.
So you weren't like super stoked to see Eli Manning and
Who?
who?
Okay, so yeah, there was a lot of sports games. One real quick thing I forgot to mention: one Hail Mary bet has been invalidated, in that Alex said that Star Wars Jedi Knight 3 would be announced.
Yeah.
And I think it's unlikely we get that outside of EA.
It could happen.
I
It
mean,
could still happen. It's not
it could
officially
have already
invalidated.
happened. That game is called Jedi Fallen Order. Like, wait, you said Jedi Knight 3?
Yeah,
You
which
said Jedi
should
Knight
technically
3.
be Jedi Knight 4, but they never called Jedi Academy Jedi Knight 3.
You already won your bet.
So, what's everyone hyped about from the show? I know, Erica, you were pretty down for Yanni 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Why aren't you? Are you playing it yet? Have you downloaded it?
No. So I'm excited about it, but I wasn't like running to go buy it, you know? Like it's something I am about to have a summer off for the first time since high school, and like so I'm very excited to have like a nice chill summer. I'm going to play this game probably with my husband, who's a teacher who also has a summer off, and you know, it seems like a nice way to spend like I don't know, an evening for like I don't know, like a week or so. I don't know how long this game is gonna be, but you know, it's not something that I ran to go buy, but I'm very into couch co-op games, and I don't think there are enough good ones and that one looked very interesting. I like the idea of like co-op, like I like the idea of grappling co-op. That's cool to me. Like
it
having somebody
reminded
anchoring
me-
me.
It reminded me of that stage in Brothers
I didn't play
where
Brothers,
you're.
so.
It's a good game. You should play it.
It's a good game.
But there's a part where you're tied to each other on a rope, and you have to like do some like grappling stuff, and you're using the other person as the anchor point. It's interesting.
That was
Did-
fun.
Did you guys ever play like any of the Kirby's Epic Yarn or Woolly World kind of stuff that had some co-op and also had some kind of light grappling mechanics?
Yeah, so I really like Kirby's Epic Yarn a lot. That's like a game that I 100%ed at least twice. But
100%ed?
like, I mean, I played through the whole thing. I should say I played through everything in that game twice. But it's
It's like
It's a really
Castlevania
good-
Symphony of the Night, where you get like 208% or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, Kirby's Epic Yarn is basically Castlevania.
Just a little FYI, I've seen online on Twitter that Unravel 2 is local only for co-op, no online.
Oh
Oh.
wow.
That makes
Interesting.
sense if you think about it. I mean, it's not. It's a small team game, right? Like Coldwater. That's the name of the studio, right? They're not big.
10 people
Yeah.
at most, maybe.
Hmm.
Yeah, it looks super nice too, which was, I mean, that was the thing with Unravel 1. Like, I wanted to buy that game, but just it didn't seem like it was polished enough for me to want to actually play it, but just it looked so nice. And I think that this kind of, if this plays well, which I'll probably wait for reviews, but if this plays well, it looks like the kind of game I want to play.
I thought the bird part was clever in that, and
Mhm.
I was watching the stream, the Giant Bomb stream, not even in the mechanics part of it, because I just don't really find those kinds of mechanics and those kinds of games compelling, and that's totally a me thing and not the fault of the game. But on the stream, the Giant Bomb stream of it, they kept saying like, why is there a bird going after these little yarn guys? And it's because those birds use yarn to build their nests. So like that's why. It's because there's like little pieces of yarn they'll pick up and put them in their nests. And so I thought that was really clever. That like, oh yeah, that would be why that bird would be going after them. It shows I guess my point being, it shows like a dedication to creating an immersive world. I think, which is pretty cool and not something I would expect out of that kind of game.
Yeah.
Had fire.
Do you guys think there were 10 games better than Unravel 2 at the EA press conference?
I think there were 10 games. in the
I was gonna say,
The joke, I was making a brother's joke because
Yeah, but
I was trying to. It's like, wait, can we even like suggest that there are?
I don't know if there was anything that was that much better, honestly.
And what about the Far Lonely Sales? I can't actually remember the real name. It's
Sea
just
of
the
Solitude.
Sea of Solitude.
I was expecting that game to look like really, really relaxing and chill and like happy after the way she described it, with just like elements of like sort of Journey-esque sad spots. And then when there was like fucking monsters and it was scary looking,
Yeah.
I was very much like, I was already sold on this game, but now I'm extra sold on this game.
Yeah.
That game looks pretty friggin' cool.
Yeah,
It looks really
does.
interesting, and I'm all about games being used for very personal stories, and it seems like it's a very personal story for the developer. So
I'm-
I was really into it.
I'm guessing it's going to be pretty Journey-esque with maybe a little bit of peril. I don't think it's actually going to be a very deep game mechanically, but it looks beautiful, and
Yeah.
I will go along for that ride.
I think it'll be kind of insidey, like Play Dead sort of thing. Like,
Yeah,
you know, you'll go from peril to
Yeah,
peril.
that's the vibe I got too. Was
Mhm.
kind of, I mean, not the exact same as Inside, obviously, but kind of similar to the, you know.
Maybe
how it's
maybe
played.
like Inside Cross Abzu.
sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Pat, are you saying maybe you're interested in a game with a boat in it?
Yeah, I will cop to that thing.
I definitely had that
I
feeling
like
too. It's
pretty
like,
much every
oh, I
game
get to
but
sail
boats.
around, and then it's like, oh, it's a personal story about sadness and depression. I'm like, oh, and there's boats.
I was playing Watch Dogs 2 before we started the stream, and Sam's not even here to hear this part. This is great. I was playing Watch Dogs 2 before we started the stream, and it was very hard for me to turn off the game because I just noticed that there's sailboat racing in Watch Dogs 2, and I was like, ooh, I want to do that.
I feel you, Pat. I'm definitely the same way of like, oh, I want to ride a boat, you know, and if there's an option for it in a game.
It's honestly, I think that it comes down to, and this is a little bit relevant to that game, and I don't know that it'll matter, but I think the thing that attracts me to boats in games is it's the same reason why I get attracted to certain kinds of space games. Is it's the idea that like you have ownership of this vessel, and it's very much a part of like your experience and your character, and I think that's really cool. And you don't really get that from like cars as much as you in games as much as you do from like boats. I would say that I really love that Mad Max game because I felt like they did that with the car in that game. So that's usually why I'm so attracted to boat games, because it's
I
like
feel it.
cool. You have ownership over this vehicle that becomes part of the experience.
Did you get
Dan, you
into?
missed it. I talked
Wish
about
we had
Watch
more
Dogs 2 for
spaceship.
30 seconds.
Oh, I was putting my towel in the tumble dryer. Sorry, I did laundry
What?
earlier.
Fine.
Wait, so Pat,
Uh,
did for ownership over space game crafts, did you ever get into that one where you can buy? Oh frick, what's its name?
Star Citizen.
Star Citizen. Yeah, where you
Oh,
can
yeah.
It's not a
purchase them.
game.
It's not a game. It's never going to be a game, but I still have $100 in it.
Dang.
Just an e-commerce site with a GUI.
Yeah. If that, I am okay with having $100 in that game on the remote promise that maybe someday it might be a game. Because if that game were to sell and like work, or if that game were to work on all the levels that they're selling it on, I would like I could just walk through my screen into that game and never come back, because that game is like very much a dream game of mine for sure.
I'm semi-interested in stuff like that. Like I bought, I can't remember, whatever the one that came out on Xbox One in early
Elite
access,
Dangerous?
and then, yeah, I bought Elite Dangerous.
I
and
love
played,
Elite Dangerous. Yeah.
I played like 5-10 hours of that, just
Sure.
like boosting around, trying to understand that game.
It's complex and grindy and doesn't have a ton of variety. There's like 4 different things you can do, and if you get bored of those things.
So it sounds like you're describing some of my favorite games, Pat. I'm interested in. That's one of the things that we'll probably talk about later. But like Anthem is interesting me in a similar sort of way in terms of the loop for the game and the like customization, design, ownership aspect that they talked a little bit about.
When I look at that game, I see the flying, and I'm like, oh man, you get to go up, and then you can go down. You go, there's water, and then you go under the water. Whoa.
Yeah.
Fierce.
They did show you that
I'm actually,
a lot.
that and with Battlefront, they had we got like 10 clips, so we're just gonna show all of them on repeat, and they're all 5 seconds long. Like, what the fuck?
They showed like the same loop of 2 video
Yeah.
clips with 2 pieces of
Which is
concept
so
art for the whole of the stage discussion.
There's like more video of that Battlefront 2 solo stuff that exists like on
Yeah.
their website than what they showed. It actually looks very good. Like it's just so sad that was their showing of it.
The most annoying thing was that at the end, the guy goes, "Oh, we've got the rest of that Anthem level, like where you fight the boss and all that stuff." They're like, "Yeah, it's available
Right.
in the theater.
They
If you're
could have
here at
shown
EA
that and
Play,
not
you can
talked
go
for
watch it."
5 of those 15 minutes that they sat there talking and just
Yeah,
shown the whole thing.
They spent 20 minutes and like 25 seconds on Anthem, and I would say 8 minutes of that is the on-stage discussion, and it's like,
Yes, at least.
guys, I do like the on-stage discussion was useful for the three points out of like 3 minutes out of those 5, where you said no random roll loot boxes, no there is customization, and
But can I customize my character? I have to know.
if you were anywhere near the Destiny 2 Reddit on day 1 launch day, you probably would be asking, not thinking that question was a weird one to ask.
Yeah.
remember the what are they called? The like color schemes.
Shaders.
Shaders, yeah.
Remember the shader controversy?
Yep. It's still there
Still-
too. Like they didn't change it.
Still a fucking awful way to handle it. I
Because
bought the
Destiny.
I bought the DLC because it was on sale on Humble Bundle.
Bungie's
I have a
got
problem.
problems, that's why they didn't change that
I have,
shaders.
I have a problem.
It's your problem that you aren't playing Destiny right
I mean,
now.
if it makes you feel better, Andre, I bought that DLC at full price after I bought it for $12 on the Humble Bundle, so don't feel
My-
too bad.
My problem is I keep buying this stuff even though I'm like, it doesn't fulfill me. I'm still empty
keep-
inside.
I keep over and over describing the person that buys every Destiny thing and complains about it and saying maybe they don't like Destiny and you're that person.
No. I enjoy playing Destiny. It's just like I feel so empty when I'm gonna try and do the raid maybe next weekend for the first time. Maybe we'll see. I don't know. If I do that, maybe that'll like turn me around because I've still never completed a raid. I got to the end of Vault of Glass once, but
I hate to tell you right now, but Vault of Glass is the best raid. It's never gotten even remotely close to that.
I didn't
But
think
wait.
it was that cool.
But wait, that new one is like Vault of Glass plus whatever the other one.
Leviathan, the Dreadnought.
Yeah,
sorry.
Leviathan. Yeah.
No,
Anyway.
I'm incredibly hyped for the new Destiny raid. I think that looks actually interesting. Apart from the fact that it's just like a load of islands taped together, like give us an actual
Yeah.
place to go.
So you know what was actually made me hopeful about Anthem is they said they're building it to make it so they can add in story,
Yeah.
whereas Destiny was like they had to rework a ton and like change their pipeline after that game came out.
Mm.
So if they've got it built in from the get-go that like, okay, this is going to be like we're going to add stuff and change it, then hopefully things will go a little smoother with Anthem than they did with Destiny because they've had the chance to like watch Destiny and see like that arc, and so maybe the launch will be a little bit better, more promising. I hope because I
After-
really like the look of that game.
After that Anthem rundown, I think I'm more enthused about it than I have been yet. But I also think maybe it's not as much like Destiny as we thought it was going to be.
It looks
I,
a lot like Monster Hunter to me.
I-
It looks
I
a lot
don't-
like Monster Hunter.
I don't think it's going to have Monster Hunter style loot progression, but I don't think it's going to be much of a loot game, to be honest. Like, I think it's going to be as much of a loot game as Mass Effect is, in that you will have gear on your characters, but I don't know. Like, they weren't picking stuff up as they were killing things. I mean,
If it's not a loot game, why do you play when you're done?
because it's got a good story and they're going to add story content. I think that's why.
Yeah, but like, if you do that, you get people to come back every 6 months when you do an update of story content. Whereas with Destiny, people will play from the day it comes out to the day the sequel comes out. They'll
Yeah, I
play
mean,
it every day for half an hour.
I'm not necessarily making a judgment call on whether it's a good idea for it to not be a loot game or not. I just don't think it's going to be as much of one as Destiny is after the way that they talked about it today.
Not as much as one, definitely, but I think that there's a lot of loot to be had in this game.
Yeah, there's a lot of loot to
There's
be had
like-
in Mass Effect compared to like Halo.
There's like
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
pieces of loot in Destiny, so like
Do you guys think Anthem's going to show up on any stage other than EA's?
They will. They
Or all of
they
them.
confirmed it was showing up on Microsoft's. I thought,
Did they say that?
or maybe that was Battlefield.
I thought that was.
Battlefield,
Battlefield,
they
sorry,
showed
yeah,
the
yeah.
single player on Microsoft stage.
You're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
People are excited about Battlefield, right?
if
I
if
am
it does
very
show up on
excited
someone
about
else's
Battlefield.
stage, I bet it shows up on Microsoft's.
Agreed.
It was revealed on Microsoft last year, so I'm assuming that EA is pretty much in bed with Microsoft co-marketing stuff.
I don't think it'll show up though on Microsoft stage because they're already confirming that they're going to show Battlefield on Microsoft stage. So I don't.
Can we start shipping Andrew House and Phil Spencer? Not Andrew House. But what's the guy's name? The
Oh, the Aussie?
CEO of EA.
Oh, I can't remember his name. I just know he's Australian.
It is Andrew, isn't it? But I don't know.
But I would-
just wanna
I
say
would-
Patrick Sutherland.
I would still love to ship Andrew House and Phil Spencer, though.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
regardless.
probably-
But
Andrew Wilson and Phil Spencer sitting in a tree. KISSING.
Yeah, if they could, this could be a really good position for like if they could somehow, Microsoft could somehow lock down some kind of exclusive content for Xbox or Anthem that doesn't overlap with the PC version of Anthem, that could be a compelling reason for people. I'm not saying I would run out and buy an Xbox for that, but I think there are people who would be invested enough to purchase an Xbox in an era where, like, I think a lot of people like me are asking why I should buy an Xbox if I already have a PC. So,
But and both, I think Phil Spencer's made it pretty clear that they're not trying to sell you
Yeah, I know.
an Xbox.
I know, but
they just want you to buy their game.
yeah, but
As
still,
a counterpoint, if they released, if they had a co-marketing deal with Microsoft and they were like, they're going to get all the DLC early, I'd be like, I'm still buying it on PS4 because none of my friends have Xboxes.
sure,
And it's a
yeah.
multiplayer game. So
Yeah.
people are where you play.
Also, that stuff is never that good.
No, I
Yeah.
agree with everything you guys are saying, but I think we are a lot more strong in our convictions than a lot of BioWare fans are. I think there are a lot of
Fair.
rabid BioWare fans out there that would be willing to buy an Xbox. That
I bought
if
an
they-
Xbox. I bought an Xbox 360 for Mass Effect 1.
Cheska,
Yeah.
would you
So-
would you buy an Xbox for Anthem if it was real hella good on or on Xbox?
If it was
Co-marketing.
exclusive on Xbox,
Extra
then
stuff.
Yeah, if it was exclusive, then yes.
Yeah, I mean, I would do that
Oh,
too
yeah, I don't think
for.
it's exclusive, yeah.
If it was exclusive to Xbox, I would 100% buy an Xbox for it.
I just meant like if there was exclusive missions or something on there,
Yeah,
I don't
that could
think
be
I
an
would.
interesting
probably
play.
not. I mean, honestly, the only DLC that I really ever cared about with BioWare was the
Shadow
story-based,
Broker?
character-based, story-based stuff like that. But so it's like if it's extra missions and they weren't really like, you know, super
Worth it.
character
Right.
driven.
So
yeah,
if it was
I
like-
seriously doubt.
Just gonna say if it was like Shadow Broker or something equivalent.
Yeah, then I
Yeah.
might be like, I might be. I still probably wouldn't, but I would be very tempted.
And I don't
Sure.
really think it'll happen anyway, because if it were to happen, they would announce it tomorrow, and they're already doing Battlefield 5 stuff tomorrow. I don't think they're going to give EA.
Yeah.
They're going to show 2 EA games during the
Yeah.
Microsoft press conference.
You might be
Yeah,
right.
that'd be a lot.
At the end of the Battlefield presentation, the EA exec could go, and also we're going to be launching DLC first for Anthem, Battlefield, blah blah blah. Also, they announced that Origin Access
Yep,
Premium
for
where
PC.
you get day and date. Well, not even day and date. Like 5 days before release day on PC, you'll be able to play any exclusive, and you get the game.
Well, that's-
So the
pretty
thing I don't
interesting.
know. Sorry, go ahead, Andre.
So
They didn't give a ton of details, like pricing isn't out there, and then they
the
also
pricing's on the website. It's $100 a year or
Okay.
$15 a month.
okay.
I think $100 a year is actually a really good value for that service. The problem
Yeah,
that
I
I
do too.
have is that if you told me like, hey, if you sign up for this service, you're going to get access to everything in Battlefield 5 that you would have gotten access to if you had paid to buy it and pre-order it, then
I think
fine.
that's the case.
That's definitely going to be it.
But so like I'll be able to get into the beta and I'll get all the pre-order stuff, and then what if I cancel my EA access and then I go back and buy Battlefield 5? Am I going to lose all that pre-order stuff because I didn't
Probably.
pre-order it and I had EA? You know, like it's a weird
Yeah.
thing.
If
Yeah,
it's
that
tied
is
to your
strange.
account, then
I would expect that it's like PS Plus in that when you re-up, you get everything back. So if you buy a game, you would get everything you've got for it. But
usually
That's
that
me
pre-order
thinking-
stuff, that pre-order
Um,
stuff usually comes to other people eventually later anyway, doesn't it?
yeah,
Like it's
I-
so rare that they have stuff that they put out for pre-order like bonuses and then they never release it for other people.
I'm trying to
I
think.
think-
I think
uh,
you could buy the stuff you got for Battlefront 2 later, but like you didn't. If you were to buy it today, you wouldn't just have it. You'd have to buy it. You'd have to unlock it by playing the game.
Yeah, for sure.
and I want to throw a Hail Mary out here and say that I think that at the Xbox show, EA are going to announce that this is being rolled into Game Pass, which is why they've only announced it for PC and not for Xbox.
That would make
EA
sense.
No, they-
Access does real well on Xbox.
I think they did announce it for Xbox and PlayStation.
No, they didn't.
No, it was
Because I
purely
went
PC today.
online to-
Oh. What was the
EA
thing?
Access isn't on PlayStation, so there might be the game streaming thing because the game streaming thing.
Game streaming is for everything.
That was. I'm sorry. I was thinking of the FIFA trial thing. They said that was on
Oh,
all 3
yeah,
platforms.
But yeah, so they announced the Origin Premier or Origin Access Premier Plus Gold Edition,
Yeah.
but also the like game streaming thing. Like those
Yeah.
are 2 separate things. So
Yeah.
The Origin Premiere, if that is an Xbox thing, I'd be real tempted to get that. I've got to say, but then like the games that EA makes are games that I want to play with friends, like Battlefield and Anthem. And is it worth paying that money to play those games without people?
Sam, I've got a crazy idea. It's worked for me. Don't have friends.
Oh,
I was gonna say crazy idea. Start playing games on PC.
That too. But-
well, hopefully everything will be cross-platform at that point between PC and
There will not be
Xbox.
cross-platform play between PC and Xbox when it comes to Battlefield. I guarantee you that will not happen.
Yeah, good point.
Which is
Wait.
extraordinarily frustrating because I'm in a position where I will play that Battlefield game no matter what. But like all of the friends that I have that want to play it on standard PS4s, which is maybe the worst possible way to play that game.
My friends play on PS4.
I think I want to get Battlefield 5.
Looks really good. It looks
The only
good.
Battlefield game I've put real time into is like 1943 or whatever.
So
When
the
was
one,
The free one that was on like
Yeah, I played that a lot.
The exciting thing that I'm this is sort of a Hail Mary, but like I've said it in our chat. I don't know if I've said it on the show, but like I'm a pretty massive Battlefield fan. And the thing that I think would be exciting, they rolled out with Battlefield 1 this kind of like meta menu where when you launch Battlefield 1, you can like dip into stuff from Battlefield 4 also. And Hardline, but like who gives a fuck about Hardline?
I played the
And-
beta for Hardline.
I owned Hardline on PlayStation 4 and it was bad.
It's bad.
But they added Battlefield 5 to it recently, which makes sense. And so essentially there's like a sort of like Battlefield launcher that starts up when you launch any of those games. It's a little bit fragmented because it still tells you if you try to jump into a Battlefield 4 game and you launch Battlefield 1, it says like, we need to launch Battlefield 4 instead. Okay. You have to click OK and then it switches over. But anyway, I am looking forward to the prospect of like, I could see them going back and rolling some of these like games as a service features they're talking about with Battlefield 5 back into 4 and 1 to keep those games getting some kind of content rotation. Obviously not like as much as the newest one, but I would love a world where EA kind of cools it on making Battlefield games and instead they're just like, hey, there's a Modern War one, there's a World War one, there's this weird Cops and Robbers one, and there's a World War II one. We made Battlefield for you. Now here's a bunch of cosmetics and shit you can buy across them, and we're gonna like go do something else. That could be really interesting if they were to do it. It's a Hail Mary. I don't necessarily think it makes business sense to them, but
That's like people say they want the Madden as a service, isn't it? $60
Totally, yeah.
subscription, you just get the app. But like, one thing I was looking at is the release date for Battlefield 1. It is 7 days before Red Dead 2, so I'm not playing that game.
Battlefield 5.
That's the one.
I would say I'm significantly more excited for Battlefield 5 than Red Dead 2. I
Me
feel like
too.
Red Dead 2 will be a phenomenal game, but like, I think it's going to be a phenomenal Western story.
I
So
don't want to get spoiled by lad Bible memes on Facebook 3
I
days
guess
after
so.
the game comes out.
But, like-
so Red Dead would be a priority for me personally.
but
It's a-
there's
Everyone's
one.
gonna die.
Sorry.
It's a Rockstar game.
There's
Spoiled.
there's one thing about Battlefield 5 that had me kind of psyched, and like Pat, like you, I'm a pretty huge Battlefield fan, though I haven't played 1. But Bad Company 2 was my game of choice, like especially for multiplayer, and that game was all about the destructible environments, and the fact that they gave that decent stage time makes me way more psyched for Battlefield
It
5.
was funny that they opened their talk about it. I was at first initially worried because he was like, "You'll be able to crash through windows and ambush your foes," and I was
Yeah.
like, "Wait, do they think that's a feature?" but,
But-
when they showed the tank running through the building, I was like, "Okay, this is gonna go well."
So that had some it had some warm fuzzies from Bad Company 2, so
Yeah.
it's a good
Yeah,
thing.
totally.
That was kind of what really got me interested. Like, that looks real nice. It looks
It's
real
not
fun.
in Battlefield 1 as well. Like I think Battlefield 1 is a spectacular game, but it does not have the destruction stuff that Battlefield Bad Company 2 did. So it's very exciting to see them bring that back.
There's two other things that I wanted to talk about real quick, which we haven't gone over, is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Does anyone have anything they want to kind of bring on that one? I know Alison, as our resident Star Wars nerd.
Takes
Cat
place at the
too.
same time
Cat's also a
as
Star Wars nerd.
What's,
Look, a Star
It's a
Wars
full
fic.
one. I'm not
Um,
going to Celebration, but yes.
what's
Oh,
the-
oh,
what's-
yeah. Well, it Celebration is like they're selling out of every pass immediately, which is like
I would go to Celebration. I'm
You're
going to
paying money to
instead.
celebrate Star Wars. I think that makes you the
Yeah.
number one Star Wars fan.
I don't know. I guess I want to see more of it. I think that playing as a Jedi in that era, like post episode 3, pre episode 4, is interesting, especially since
You mean the
But-
Force Unleashed timeline?
Yep.
Order
Yeah.
66.
I think that that sounds like fun. It's just we don't have anything beyond like, yay, it's more Star Wars, and I just
Yeah.
want more. So I'm kind of like,
I guess I kind of
that's what
I don't think
Go.
that like a game of like you are a Jedi. Like I don't think that that's like an interesting concept for a game anymore. I mean, like
the way he
And
talked
that's
about
fair.
it was like we just figured out the setting
yeah,
and what the game is.
I don't
I
Yeah.
assume that everything's done. They just had to slap the Star Wars on it.
right, totally.
What if you get a little pistol that locks onto everything?
Titanfall
And then-
is a really good video game.
It was.
And then you get into a mech, and then the mech has lightsabers.
Oh my god, yes.
That's called Gundam.
I was,
Right
I
on
was
the
gonna
back of
say,
the wood.
and then it's a Gundam game.
It's
Lightsabers.
I'm gonna
Right.
say this, even though I am a significantly bigger Star Wars fan than I am a Gundam fan, like a lot bigger. I would rather see Respawn make a Gundam game than a Star Wars game.
Agree.
I don't know. I just feel like I don't know what they made a very good single player Titanfall 2 campaign, but I guess I just don't really know that. Like when he was like, it's called Jedi Fallen Order, and everyone's like, oh, I was like, I don't care about this thing.
fair enough.
Yeah, but like how they literally had nothing to show. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that game's coming out in
a
18
year and a
months.
bit. Yeah.
I don't see how they keep that license beyond next year if they're
It's
going to keep
hard.
doing
Yeah,
this.
I can't imagine that
Is that when the
Disney
deal is up?
Lucasfilm is
I don't know.
excited about. Well, especially about all the loot box controversy. I can't imagine that they're pleased
That
about
was-
that.
That was the only Star Wars thing. They didn't even have a Star Wars thing to show. They just said,
Right.
Battlefront.
this is
they
what
showed
it's
loads of
called.
Battlefront stuff. They had like
So-
5 minutes of Battlefront.
But that doesn't even that game's out. That doesn't count.
Yeah, I mean, I will say what they were talking about with Battlefront is something that the community really, really, really wants for that game. Personally, I love Star
yeah.
Wars. I don't give a shit about more Clone Wars content myself, but the community, if you go on the Reddit, people are like every other thread. It's like, give us Clone Wars, give us Clone Wars. So
They-
But they don't.
They're listening.
People
Is
love
Count
them
Dooku
Clone
in
Wars.
the cartoon?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is.
Okay,
A lot.
When the fuck does the cartoon take
Christopher
place?
Christopher
takes
Lee
place
voices him in the
in-
cartoon.
It takes place between 2 and 3.
Yeah. It's a very good
Okay.
show.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't care as much about getting more content from that era. I would much rather get more content from like the new trilogy personally. That's like
Yeah.
imagined stuff. But whatever. I mean, I think that the Clone Wars stuff will bring people back to the game that said they were done playing it, and that's great. They have the license until 2023, by the way. So never mind what I said.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I just feel like I mean Star Wars is such a big license. I just don't understand why they're going like, what are we supposed to do with this when I feel like I
Yeah.
don't know.
It's weird that
There's-
they're turning out like all of their like other franchises annually, like sports games are just getting like crapped out as they always have been, and they have the largest license in entertainment. And
Well-
What if they put out a pod racing game?
yes, please.
Again,
One Racer
yeah.
is so
What if
good.
Criterion made a pod racing game?
Oh my god,
Oh my gosh.
that sounds amazing.
Why wasn't that announced like 2 years ago?
What if it
I
was
don't know.
just F-Zero but with Star Wars ships? in
That game
space?
What if-
exists. It's called Pod Racer, and it's really fucking good.
And
Pod
what if
Racer
the
is
main- what if the
You
main
had-
character
Like, I'm
was
not a prequels
Fox?
fan, but I love Episode 1 Racer on a very big level.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, what if the main character's a fox from space?
No, foxes don't fly ships in Star Wars. Only horses do. Come on.
Wait,
Of course.
wait. What? Horses?
Grand theory.
Wait, there's a horse that flies a ship in Star Wars?
I'm pretty right. Star Wars nerds, right? That's the thing.
I don't think that's a thing. I think
I
you made
don't
it.
know. It's like,
I'm just typing horse Jedi into Google. Let's see what we get.
there's like a big, there's a giant rabbit in Star Wars.
Hohas Ekwesh. Hohas Ekwesh is a horse who flies a X-wing, I think.
My god, Equesh? They couldn't have hit it any closer.
Ekwesh.
Is-
I'm on DeviantArt.
Oh no! Don't
Oh dear.
don't search up horses on
Pretty good.
DeviantArt.
yeah. Yeah, that's the Thakwash. They look like horses, kind of.
Oh, that made me laugh a lot.
Not really. though.
Anyway, so the final game,
Hey,
I think you
hey,
say the best
so-
for last here.
So fuck you. A horse flew an X-wing or something.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That is not canon.
That's Captain Carrot, isn't it?
Not canon. It's been relegated to legends. Horse pilots out of the canon.
Didn't
If
carrot?
it's DeviantArt, I think
The
that's
giant rabbit Jackson is still canon now.
God damn it.
What about EA's most exciting announcement? Command and Conquer Rivals.
So I want to report that the download size for that game is 69 megabytes.
Hey, nice.
Nice.
That's all I know about Command Conquer Rivals. I'll come up with
Right.
it.
And all
I
the
might download it. I don't know.
all the microtransactions are $4.20.
I hope so.
I'm showing my phone to the people on the call.
No, you need to close the Play Store app completely,
Mhm.
and then go research it again. You can download it now.
Okay, yes, but what I was showing them was that it said you can register for this, but I will do
Yeah.
what Pat said and see
Yeah.
if I can download it.
You can now just install it. Yeah.
Oh, yep, you're right. I'm installing it as we speak. I don't know if it seems that interesting, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah. It looks like Clash Royale to me, but with some like zone control stuff. I'm actually super intrigued to play that. I like mobile games.
I like that they
That
didn't
was-
try to act as like it's some major. They didn't. I mean, they gave it a weird amount of time, but they didn't like say like the rich history of Command and Conquer or anything. They were just like, hey, this is our new Command and Conquer idea. It was very like.
They didn't say it was Command and Conquer until the end of the presentation.
Right. Yeah. It didn't seem
There
like
was
a,
Tiberium on screen. They used the
didn't-
word harvester.
Yeah, they didn't seem like they were like taking a dump on Command and Conquer though. You know what I mean? Like they could have been way more like showed the games over the years and gotten everyone really hyped and excited, and then shown that it was a phone game. But instead,
Yeah,
they
they could
just
have been like,
But
look, we're gonna do this franchise right. You know, this is
Yes,
our
yeah.
beautiful way to honor this
Yeah.
big legacy, and then it's like it's a phone game.
Yeah.
They
yeah,
could have easily done that.
Hey,
I
Pat,
think-
I don't think, I think that is absolutely not what they should have. Like, if since it's a phone game, they shouldn't be like, "Oh, Command and Conquer, remember all these games you
Right,
love."
and
Exactly.
I
And
think
now
it's
it's
a
just
good
on
thing
the
that they
phone.
did it like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
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 Hey, Pat, have you launched the game?
not yet.
I'd like to point out that you choose your age with an age slider, so I immediately went to 69.
Nice.
Age is a spectrum.
Clearly.
Got nothing
Yeah,
else.
so-
So that was
I don't know.
EA, huh?
That was the EA press conference. I don't know if there's anything else to say.
Yeah.
I got a good podcast title for this week. Thank you, Andre.
Ages. Yeah. I don't know. We could touch on the games that we played this week briefly before we call it.
What if we did the quiz for the week?
Oh yeah, that sounds good. Oh
Oh,
no, there's a
yeah.
tutorial
Yeah.
that you're forced to do when you launch the app.
Can I tell you
Speaking
about
of
the
what
real
to do.
quick? There's too
Upon-
many Goku in video games right now.
Too many?
Okay.
So Dragon Ball Fighters new DLC dropped. 2 more Gokus added to that game.
All
God.
Gokus.
They are fusions of Goku. One is a fusion of Goku Black, and then also one is a fusion of Goku and Vegeta. Too many Gokus. And then I'm playing Dragon Ball Legends on my phone. I have 3 Gokus on my team. they're all
God.
different. One
I hope that
is
the teams are only
Regular-
3, and you could have
No,
more
no.
Gokus if wanted.
well, your fight, like in a fight, you only have 3 people, but your squad can be 6, so you have 6 people to choose from.
Oh,
I've
like
got Super
Pokemon.
Saiyan Goku, got Super Saiyan Goku, regular Goku, and Spirit Bomb Goku. And they all
Sweet.
have varying degrees of battle damage.
Speaking of Goku,
Go-
question
Goku's
1.
not even the best character in Dragon Ball. Why are there so many Gokus?
Question 1.
Who is the best Goku?
Which of the following is not a real song by DeAndre Cortez Way, aka Soldier Boy Tell 'em?
Oh God.
A.
What?
Badman. B. Goku. C. Anime.
Wait, can I get those names one more time?
So these are 3 possible songs. One of them is the one that I made up. A. Badman. B. Goku. C. Anime.
No, I'm gonna choose the one that I want to be real. So
Okay.
So we're choosing the fake one. We're choosing the
choosing
fake.
the fake one.
Okay, okay.
2 of these are songs released by Soldier Boy Tell 'em.
Can't make that clear enough.
Wait, is Tellum part of his name?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God.
yes.
Soldier Boy for short. Let's get your answers in 3, 2, 1. Everyone who said A, you are correct.
Yes.
Does not
He's
have a
released a
song called
song
Badman,
called Anime, and he's released a song called Goku.
but he hasn't released a song called Badman.
No,
You
He's
gotta be
not
kidding me!
JME.
But Badman is like a thing.
He's not
No.
JME. No, wait, okay, wait. Is it Bad Man or Bat Man?
Oh, sorry. I don't want to interrupt, but we have EA press conference stuff going on in the background for the video version, and it just had that the Anthem clip with all the combos coming up. that was the dumbest
Clip
thing.
of the show.
Speaking of the EA press conference, the next question is about that EA press conference.
Oh,
True or
man.
false? Nick at Night won the CNC mobile game live demo.
Oh,
Is that true or is that false? A is true, B is false, as always. Let's get your answers in 3, 2. Alex is ready. 1.
Fucking
Okay.
false. It was
False.
in control that one.
Yeah,
Come
you're
on.
right. He was the guy on the left.
So,
Get on my
that
level.
means that Pat and Erica got that one, I think.
Yeah, I got
Naked
it.
Knight's having a rough go of it. First they lost with Cosby Show reruns, and now losing Commander Conquer on stage.
Well, you know.
You guys don't even know the meta, then please don't comment on the game.
Oh
Did
wow.
any of you know who those 2 people were before?
Of course not.
Okay.
I,
All right.
I have heard of In Control.
The best man at my wedding was talking about how In Control was extremely good, and he knew everything. He was talking about him in our group chat.
What did he play before this?
StarCraft.
Oh, well,
That's why they got him up to do it.
No one cares about StarCraft. Come on.
Speaking of esports, which sport was shown first in the press conference? Was it A, football? Was it B, American football? Or was it C, basketball?
I don't-
I rewatched the press conference to write this question. Okay, let's get your answers in 3, 2, 1. It was regular football, so everyone but Andre.
Oh
You
yeah,
didn't
I
get
just
the right. It was A, warfare, the sport of war.
no, I just
Football was actually the first thing shown on screen when the press conference started.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it showed the Football World Cup and Ronaldo walking out to pick it up.
All right. Fair enough.
yep. Yeah, I remember Cheska and I making penis jokes.
It does weirdly look like a peen.
Yeah, a little bit.
Next question. Which Star Wars character was the first to be shown on screen during the press conference?
God.
I don't fucking remember the answer to that.
I remembered this and went back to double check it, and I was right. So was it A, Darth Vader, B, Han Solo, C, Yoda?
Oh shit. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
No one's happy about this question.
You're expecting
let's-
me to remember Star Wars things? What are you asking me?
Can we get the order one more time?
Yeah, so A is Darth Vader, B is Han Solo, and C is Yoda. Everybody ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's get your answers in 3, 2, 1. Everyone who said Yoda, you are correct. So that looks like
Oh
that.
dang.
Erica and Allison.
It really makes a lot of sense when like a new movie featuring Han Solo has just come out to show Yoda first in your
Yoda's great.
coverage of the game.
So
He was the
I love
only Star Wars character that I recognized in the pre-roll before the. So at the beginning opening trailer.
What's up, Andre?
Not focus on Donald Glover's Lando Calrissian in that. Like you could see he was in there for like a hot second.
They showed him flipping the pistols around, which is kind of irritating because I don't think he ever did that in the film Solo. I think that was just Beckett that did that. But Beckett wasn't anywhere to be found in that trailer. It's irritating.
Finally, in a week of firsts, which game did Andrea Rene name drop first during the press conference? Was it A, FIFA, B, Battlefield, C, Anthem?
Wait, what was I?
So which game did which game's name did Andrea Rene say first during the press conference? Is it A, FIFA, B, Battlefield, C, Anthem? Let's get your answers in 3, 2, and a 1. Anyone who said C, you are correct. So
Cough.
we're looking at Andre, Erica.
Anthem was the first thing they showed on stage, so
Yeah, and I remember her saying something about it and being like, "Oh, you're excited for Anthem?" or something like that. I don't
She
know.
was like, I'm super hot.
she said
That's how she sounds when she
said
talks too.
Lady Wood.
Okay, so speaking of no, carry on. How about Onrush, Pat? What's that about?
Onrush is a racing game from Codemasters, which was my initial reason for being even a little bit interested in it like a year ago when it first was announced. And then I totally forgot about it. I forgot that it was ever announced as a thing. And then I was reminded of it when on this week's Giant Bombcast from Giant Bomb, Jeff Gerstmann was talking about it. And it was funny because he was talking about the Sonic racing game that's like teen kart racing. And I was like, and then he started talking about like, yeah, it's kind of like Overwatch in that there's like control points and it's like not just a racing game. So then I was like, oh my God, am I excited about a Sonic game for the first time in my life? But thankfully, no. He was talking about Onrush that came out this week. So it's it's not really a racing game. It's kind of like if you were playing I don't even really think it's the Overwatch comparisons are there because it has cosmetics similar to Overwatch and a system of unlocking them similar to Overwatch. The game doesn't play like that though. It's still a driving game. But it's a driving game where there are a collection of vehicles. I want to say there's 9 of them. I just started playing it yesterday, but there's like a handful of vehicles of a few different size classes. There's motorcycles, and then there's like off-road cars, all the way up to bigger, like all-terrain Hummer kind of looking vehicles. And each vehicle has a different set of abilities. So it'll have a way that it gains rush, which is rushing is like your rush ability is like your ultimate ability if it was a MOBA or an Overwatch type of game. Then they each have a unique thing that happens when they rush, when they, fill that meter and go. And then they each have like another basic ability that's different for each of them when they boost or just that happens periodically or whatever. So it's actually pretty deep because the cars all also handle a little bit differently, each one. And then they have a bunch of different modes. So there's like a mode where you're trying to be the one to boost as much as you can. Your team needs to hit a boost meter, fill a boost meter by boosting. That's almost kind of like a team deathmatch mode because you want to take out other cars from the other team so that you can boost more than them. You gain boost kind of like you would gain boost in a Criterion game, near misses, jumps, taking out other cars, just like
Crashing through billboards.
On bikes, you can do tricks, which give you boosts too. And then there's other modes though, like there's a gate mode that's the closest thing to a traditional race where you're trying to drive through these gates, and there's a constantly ticking down clock for each team, and when you drive through a gate, it adds time to your team's clock. So you're trying to drive through the gates while also knocking the other team out of the way so they can't get through the gates. There's a zone control mode where a zone spawns and it moves along the track, and you want to be in it. You want to have more cars in it than the opposing team. And then there was there's also the switch mode, which is pretty cool, where everybody starts as a motorcycle, one of the two motorcycles, and then you bump up to one of the two cars, and then you bump up to one of the biggest size vehicles, the non-support vehicles. But yeah, it's just an interesting take on driving. I am someone who I really, really love driving games, but I like open world driving games like Forza Horizon and The Crew, where there's a lot of stuff to do on a map, but you just kind of can zone out and drive around. I've never enjoyed taking racing games online because I feel like even if it's a game that tries to stop it, it is inevitable that every time you get that first turn, everyone crashes into each other and it's just a mess. So Onrush totally avoids that. I've mostly been playing the single player, which is kind of like a very, very long tutorialization of the different cars and modes, and it throws you into different situations to help you learn how all the cars and modes work. And it's also long. I mean, I got about halfway through it and I played it for 3 hours last night. So it's pretty lengthy single player mode. But I jumped into the online multiplayer just to see, and it's really fun and it's not just chaos all the time any more than the game encourages. So, because it's not about being in first place, it's about actually playing to the objectives. And I think it's got the potential to have the kind of legs that Rocket League has. I think it's going to ultimately be a hard sell at $60 for people because
that's the thing I was wondering most about.
Yeah, it's a full price game.
$60 price.
What?
Oh, it's a full price game. I mean, I would argue that like there was a version of Overwatch that was $60 when it came out too. And I would say this has more content than Overwatch did when it launched, based on the fact that
£20 worth of, well, like $20 worth of microtransactions in there. It had like $20 worth of loot boxes
in Overwatch. Yeah. So Overwatch, the base game was $40 on PC, and then the console versions were $60, and there was a $60 version on PC. So a cheaper way to get Overwatch existed, but I think this game has more content than Overwatch. It has a few less cars than Overwatch had characters at launch, but it has a lot of tracks. It has a lot of modes. There's a really long single player experience that is, again, like 6 to 7 hours. But it has a lot of cosmetic stuff to unlock through progression. And there are no microtransactions in it so far either. I imagine they will sell the loot boxes probably, just like Overwatch. But because the thing that is identical to Overwatch is the menus for equipping cosmetics and stuff. And there's a range of them. There's like cosmetics for your car, but then there's also, you have a driver that is one of like 8 different characters that you can select. And it doesn't matter for gameplay purposes, but it's the driver that shows up at the end of the game when they're doing the like MVP awards. And there's different cosmetics for the driver. There's different, like, you have a crash tag, which is like your card in Call of Duty. So there's a ton of cosmetic stuff in there. And I'm sure they'll sell that as microtransactions, but I don't get the impression that they're planning on selling a bunch of like DLC stuff, and none of the progression affects your stats. So
Pat, do you remember it might be a very old game, it's a 7-year-old game, a student game called Nitronic Rush.
I don't remember that.
Do you remember
It was
that?
basically a Tron style, like stunt driving, cool shit game.
Mhm.
And I'm extremely upset because I thought this was the real retail version of that game that they've been making since 2011.
Oh no, I don't think so.
I literally just based on the name, I was like, oh sweet, this is the Nitronic Rush game that I've been waiting for.
I
That
don't
game is
think it's
called
that.
Distance and is out in early access already. I'll send you the trailer pack so you can have a look. 'Cause I think you might be.
I'm looking at images. Yeah, it looks neat.
It looks cool as hell. The music's cool as hell, and the original is completely free on PC, and it's in early access.
That's cool.
But Alison has also bought a game that I am super
Yay.
interested in, and this is how we're going to end this podcast: is by talking to Alison about this game that I'm genuinely really want to play but can't afford to buy.
And now we
And you're not
start
naming.
fading out.
Yeah, I've been playing Yoku's Island Express. It's available for pretty much everything, but I've been playing it on Switch, and I think it's a good Switch game. So basically, it's Metroidvania meets pinball. So your character Yoku can only directly move him from left to right. You can't jump. But how you get places are various either ramps or pinball switches and levers and things that you use with bumpers and flippers. I'm explaining this very poorly, but you basically traverse the world using pinball mechanics. So you'll be exploring the world and using those mechanics, and then occasionally there'll be times where you need to go into a ball like very mini pinball. I'm trying to think of the word. Stage
Table?
where it's like where you're table. Yes, thank you. My brain just decided to die before I said this. But yeah, you're just like a mini pinball table where it has the flippers at the bottom, and you have to do some various things to get out of it or traverse it. So it's very much a Metroidvania. So it's exploring the world. You have to do some go find this thing, backtracking and things. But the traversal is just super fun. You eventually start getting new little powers that you can do that are really, I feel like, pretty unique, but that feel really good to play. It's also just a really pretty game and also a really cute game. It seems like a really fun world to explore with a lot of little little side places to go and places where you see, I wish I could get there, but I'll have to come back and with a new ability to see it. And it's a really pretty fun game that I'm actually getting a lot more into than I think I thought I was going to. I was really interested in it because I'm very casually into pinball. So the idea of a Metroidvania with a really different mechanic for getting around the world was really interesting to me. But it just feels super good to play, and it feels really. I even when you go back to an old area that you've already been to, it doesn't feel old. It feels like there's still a lot to discover. So it's generally really. I've just been really enjoying it, and I definitely think that it is worth the $20 that they're asking for.
I definitely intend to check this out because I've been wanting to play a Metroidvania for recently. But and like that, and what is Bloodstained out soon? I know they have the 8-bit thing.
It is out.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
the 8-bit thing is out. Is the
Yeah.
actual main game out?
Yep, it's on Steam.
What, really?
Yep.
Oh, okay. People haven't been talking about it, or I haven't seen anyone talk about it. When did it come out? What the fuck? That recent? Anyway, I want to see Yoku's Island Express speedruns because I think Metroidvania speedruns
That
are
would
always
be
really
so cool.
interesting.
Yeah.
So I wonder what kind of tech they can come up with for that.
Oh, I feel like it would be a really great game meant for that, just because there's a lot of different places that you can traverse and a lot of it's definitely a game where if you are good at pinball, then it obviously becomes a lot easier. So seeing somebody who's just really skilled at basic pinball mechanics and can get everywhere really quickly, I think would be a really fun thing to watch. So I'm definitely looking forward to a secret of it, because I feel like this game is really but also if you're not somebody who's really familiar with a lot of pinball, I think that it has a lot of leeway, and it's a very forgiving game. So there are times where I'll mess up with some of the pinball mechanics, and it just sets you back a little bit. It's very like there are times where it's a little bit tough, and it requires you to be specific with where you're hitting the pinball. So I think actually it could be a good game if you want to improve your pinball skills, because it really kind of forces you to learn where the ball is going to go and how to move it around, but it's also forgiving too. So yeah.
That sounds very interesting to me, because I really like pinball a lot, but I'm really bad at it.
Yeah, it's really forgiving. Like when you get into a section that's basically a mini table, and it has the little hole at the bottom. Basically, the mechanic that it has is that it has little spikes underneath it. So basically, instead of losing a ball, it loses some of your kind of currency, which is fruit. So you lose some currency, so it's not something that you necessarily want to do, but it's not going to, for example, set you back very far. So it's just more of an annoyance than anything. So if you like pinball, but you're not necessarily thinking, oh, I'm the best pinball player, I think it's a perfect game for that. And it's also, I think, would be a really interesting game to see somebody who's really good at pinball play it.
The place I go to play pinball charges by the hour instead of taking coins, so that's the place I go to for that purpose, specifically because I'm so bad at
That's
pinball.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's great.
there's a new barcade, or in my new apartment, there's a barcade that's within walking distance that has pinball, and all of their games are still $0.25 a pop. So it feels like, you know, it's not terrible, but yeah, I definitely.
Yes, Sam,
understand.
you're headed to New York if you're looking for pinball. I have a recommendation: Modern Pinball in Wessie. It's very good.
Cool. I will see
Awesome.
if Fiona wants to do that. Speaking of things that Fiona wants to do, it is bedtime for me. So let's close this bad boy out. One thing I did want to say is Bloodstained is not out. It has a 2018 release date, but it's not been released yet.
Oh, it hasn't?
Curse of the Moon, the 8-bit version is out.
Yeah, it's that 8-bit.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was looking at that, but it took a long time for Steam to update.
All right. I was wrong then. Sorry about that, Andre.
Yoku's
How dare
Island Express. Yoku's Island Express has no Switch tax. It's £15.99 on everything, which is super cool. Because if you Switch, you get an extra.
I appreciate it. I think it works really, really well on Switch. But I think whatever system you can play it for, I definitely recommend it.
I looked up, when I was looking at Bloodstained, I saw that half of Curse of the Moon, the 8-bit game's sales, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, were on Switch.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
It's on a lot of platforms.
I definitely want it on Switch, so.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks everybody for listening in today. Please like and subscribe, or just actually in real terms, please rate us on iTunes. That's something that really helps us with our discovery.
Like us on Facebook.
Yeah, like us on Facebook, Fix Podcasts. You can find us on pretty much everything by finding that, and it's Fix FYX. But if you're watching this, you should probably already know that. Thanks everyone for turning up today and talking E3. And where can everybody find you, starting with Pat?
You can find me at JesterPC or at my blog on gamingincompetence.com.
Erica.
You can listen to my other podcast, Tempered Expectations, which we haven't recorded one in a while, but we're definitely going to record one after today because it was crazy. Dominion. Anyway,
It's a
you can also
wrestling
follow.
podcast.
Yeah, it's a wrestling podcast, and
Oh, I
also.
thought it was
video
a
game.
Star Trek Deep Space Nine podcast.
Oh.
But yeah, so yeah, if you're interested in New Japan Wrestling, Tempered Expectations is my other podcast. If you're not, you could also follow me on Twitter, which is at Erica, spelled AIREHCUH.
if you're interested in Star Trek Deep Space Nine and discussing the Dominion War, you can DM me on Twitter.
Ugh.
Slide into Sam's DMs.
Yeah.
Andre?
You can find me on Twitter at Coolslaw, COOLSL4W, where I talk about how if Goku is your favorite Dragon Ball character, you're a cop.
Because the best Dragon Ball character is Krillin.
Krillin is a cop. Literally, that is Krillin's job.
Allison?
You can find me on Twitter at WRITERSERENYGY, and you can also follow my blog at happy-media.net. I haven't written in a week, but I am trying to watch and review every Star Wars canon thing before Celebration 2019.
Exciting. Alex, can people Google you? Turns out, yes.
Yes.
You can find me online on pretty much anything at SGCH. Easy to spell and remember.
Put Alex's through Shazam. That'll bring it up.
Yeah, if you actually play Alex's backwards and you put it through Shazam, it'll take you the secret journey to his private Twitch channel, which is
Where
just
he is got the exclusive Anthem full gameplay trailer.
yeah. Got it. He's not showing it. He's just eating spaghetti. He's constant loop of 5 minutes of spaghetti.
With Anthem on a screen really far behind him, partially obscured.
No, it's in front. It's behind the camera. He's watching it. You can see the reflection in his glasses.
Oh, okay.
Thanks
yeah.
everybody for coming along. It's been a very good podcast. We're super good at podcasting now. Next week is episode 24, and then the week after that is 25.
That's our number.
Yes.
Yeah. The week after that is 26 when we've been doing this for 6 months. So well done, everyone.
26.
Yay.
26 podcasts.
We've recorded more than 26 podcasts already, I think, because we recorded extras and we did Game of the Year. But we will be at our half-year milestone where we've been doing this every single week, which is pretty cool. Like us on everything and rate us on iTunes. And thanks for listening.
Okay, bye, nerds.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, bye.
Oh,
So
Jessica
long.
hit us with a dab in the background.
I appreciate that very much.
All right, McElroy's.
McElroy's invented tapping.